Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Indiana Overtime. Having some computer issues, but it seems to be working now. I'm joined by Nathan Brown of the Indiana Daily Student, who's actually the longest tenured basketball writer for them. He and I are both on our second years covering the team. I'm Alex McCarthy, as always, and we're here from Assembly Hall. It's around midnight after IU beat Chicago State tonight, 100-72. But we learned disappointingly that I don't think there's any more Qdoba promotion where they get to 100 points, but still, IU, kind of makes easy work of Chicago State as expected. Gets a couple really, really good performances from some young guys as they needed to get, and especially, I mean, right out of the gates, Noah Vonleh. I mean, I think he scored the first 5 points. He gets 11 rebounds in the first half. I mean, what did you see tonight from Vonleh, Nathan, that we kind of didn't see maybe in the exhibition?
I mean, I think the first thing that comes to mind is just his confidence from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
In the two exhibition games this season, he went 0 for 8. Still sounded confident after those games that his stroke would come eventually. And Crean said that he'd been working very hard, but we didn't really see that at all until tonight's game. He sunk his first free throw, and that went to 5 for 5 from the line to go along with his game tonight. And I think that he was, happy to get that off his shoulders this evening.
Yeah, absolutely, and that confidence kind of seemed to be there in every aspect of his game tonight. I mean, he was going up hard for rebounds. He was taking it inside, kind of without hesitation, to try and get points. And he finishes with a double-double, 11 points, 14 rebounds. Maybe not as efficient as you'd like him to be. He was 3 for 10 from the field, but there were a lot of other encouraging points, for a lot of the young IU players, especially a lot of guys, who were taking the ball and driving it. I mean, we saw Farrell, we saw Jeremy Hollowell really going inside hard tonight and shooting free throws, and IU actually shoots 55 and makes an IU record 45 free throws. Nathan, I mean, I guess, how much maybe do you dread how long these games are going to take now that we're going to see 40, 50 free throws a game from IU?
I mean, you would hope that, as the season goes along, some teams, especially the ones, that IU will face in the conference play, will get more used to, these new tighter called games with the new foul rules that are being instilled this season. But gosh, just seemed like almost you couldn't get 60 seconds off the game clock without a foul being called on either end. Like you said, the teams combined for let's see, how many was it? It was 56 fouls for the game. That might be a little bit attributed to the fact that it was the first regular season game, and that Chicago State is a lowly Division I opponent, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, and it's something that IU's really tried to do the past few years is really make that effort to get to the free throw line as much as possible. I think they led the country in free throw attempts last year, or at least really, really high. But as we said, a lot of really good efforts from young players. Troy Williams, who started, had 13 points. Devin Davis finishes, I think, a point shy of a double-double. He looks great tonight on both ends of the court, and IU really was. Tom Crean has said throughout practice that this team is still trying to figure out what to do with all of its length. And tonight they had 13 blocks, and they just, especially from some of the young guys. I mean, Davis had 3, and Hollowell led the team with 4. He had career highs in both points and blocks. So that's certainly a sign of improvement there, of them kind of realizing what they can do. We saw a couple highlight reel dunks from Hunter Perea, had a really big one. Troy Williams also had a pretty good one. I mean, but in terms of Williams tonight, he was he played. He almost had a quiet 13 points. It seemed like Davis and Vonleh kind of stole the show from him. But overall, so far, I think we've seen Troy Williams play really, really well and earn that starting spot. I mean, what are some encouraging signs you've seen from Troy Williams so far?
He has so much power, so much athleticism. When he gets the ball in the lane, sometimes he does get a bit out of control just because he is going so fast. But I think he's someone who, can definitely light a fire in a team that is, maybe struggling from the field to, drive in the lane. He's very crafty, putting up the ball around the hoop. He can, weave through a bunch of very tall defenders, bigger guys who, have a lot more strength than him, but still make it to the basket. And I think that's something that, he shares with a lot of guys on this team this season, guys who have a lot of You know, like Tom Crean likes to say, play downhill a lot. And I think that's going to be a strength for this IU team this season for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the areas that we've kind of seen the team struggle in on the other hand is ball security. I mean, like you said, Williams can kind of get out. A lot of these guys can get out of control a little bit, and maybe I think Williams tried to make a behind the back pass tonight and just
Yeah.
threw it into his own
Yeah.
foot and turned it over. It's just things like that where they sometimes they get playing a little too quickly, or just are trying to make too much happen there, and sometimes there are miscommunications. I mean, they had 19 turnovers tonight, which again, I mean, every game, well, through both of the exhibition games and tonight, Tom Crean has said that he really, really wants his team to start limiting those turnovers, and especially those live ball turnovers that immediately go the other way for points. And we're going to see, if they're able to limit that as the games go along. They take on LIU Brooklyn, I think, is next here Tuesday night at 6. I think LIU Brooklyn was a tournament team last year. They were a 15 seed. So not not any slouch. I mean, I think they're a fairly fun team to watch, a team that likes to go pretty fast. So that should be hopefully pretty fun to see here. But until then, I mean, later today is IU's football game against Illinois. So stick with Inside Indiana for the coverage of that. But we'll see in terms of basketball. We'll see you in a few days. Again, thank you, Nathan, for being on.
Of course.
Nathan Brown of the IDS, and I'm Alex McCarthy. You guys have a good weekend, and actually, you're going to have another overtime later on today from the football game, so I'll see you soon.